Good day, global citizens. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Fajembola's Opinion. This is a platform where research meets understanding and legacy. You can see I'm smiling because today we are discussing something entirely different. And when I came across this publication, I had to discuss with the researcher and be like, please, you need to come on Dr. Fajembola's Opinion and discuss this. Like, it's eye-opening. It's actually something outside the box. And when I was reading the publication, what came to my mind is, how did she think of this? Because this is entirely, like, as I said, out of the box, thinking outside the box. So please join me to welcome Miss Morufat Olaiton. Miss Morufat, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for being a guest on our platform. And thank you for choosing to share your knowledge with us today. Our contribution to One Health. So basically, the publication we're going to look at today is Henna. How Henna, I know some people don't know what Henna is. Henna is a natural plant used as cosmetic in almost around the world, in fact. But it's one of the things used especially by a specific religious group, Muslims, known attached, even though it's not only used by Muslims, but it's well known among the Muslim populace. So before we dive into the discussion, we're going to look at basically our publication was using Henna, the antimicrobial effect of Henna extract. I know many people just use Henna. In fact, some people are using fake Henna. Some people are using chemicals, so they're calling it Henna. So today we are going to learn more on that. So, Henna, I believe that's chemical. What do you think, Miss Morufa?
Yeah, that is very likely not to be the natural one, actually, because the natural Henna must absorb water. In fact, I think that is one of the major characteristics, such that they were able to take in water, and by that they were able to release the active components. So maybe that other Henna that is not able to absorb water, perhaps is actually the synthetic one, or those adulterated. And we say we have many bacteria, not all, because due to the nature of the cell wall, we are able to have either positive or negative after running the Gram reaction, or we rather call it Gram staining. You understand? So in the Gram staining, we have the primary stain, we have mordants, we have alcohol, we have secondary stain. So the two stuff that actually determine be it will end up being Gram positive or Gram negative is actually the primary and the secondary stain. So Gram positive usually take up the primary stain, and the primary stain is actually crystal violet, and the crystal violet stain purple. So because of the tiny layer of the peptidoglycan, you understand, in the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria, and they have
absorb water. If I'm wrong, let me know. And a lot of Henna being paraded globally as Henna are chemicals. They're not really the Henna from the plants. So what are 3 facts about Henna extract we should know, Ms. Morufat?
All right, thank you so much. So, the first fact I would like to say about the real natural Henna is that, unlike many other plants, at least you see this so-called, the plant-based antimicrobial, my own interest just came because of, during the COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. It's not that maybe I'm actually like, a chemist, how do they call them? Those chemistry people, the medicinal plant, organic chemistry and stuff. So I just try to, mingle with some of them, ask them some questions before I even embark on my own journey. And what they usually tell me is that, look, by the time you have many bags of the plant that you need, you will get very minute quantity. But I was so surprised by the time I did the extraction for henna. I was able to have, large quantity, because I was told initially that hardly will I be able to get up to 1% of the yield. And I was so scared. How many bags do I have to gather to actually achieve my aim? But by the time I look at henna, I was able to have even some extract having more than 25%. Imagine compared to every other plant having just one. So henna usually absorb, taking water, and in that course, they will release the active extract or active principle. So another thing is that the leaf extract, I don't know if I will say maybe that is why they use it in cosmetic, right? But no, the cosmetic actually come in before the, maybe, I don't know, maybe, you know, I will just say maybe like that, because maybe perhaps because I know about the design before I even know anything about the antimicrobial, any other